Today, on the first day of Mandatory Minicamp, Mike McDaniel got a little saucy at the podium when he was asked about Jalen Ramsey. So we're going to discuss that, plus a few other things he said involving Tua, Jonnu, and much more. We'll discuss that. Also, Tua, Waddle, they continue to dominate like they did in OTAs on day one of minicamp. So we'll discuss that, as well as Tua had some interesting things to say in his media availability, specifically regarding Jalen Waddle. We'll talk about all of that. Plus, we'll have the latest on Jaire Alexander and a potential pursuit by the Dolphins, if it's realistic or not. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you are new. It's a taste of football, and we're back, baby.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, man open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it for the touchdown again.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We are back here for another one. As you come through, do me the favor, smash that like button. If you are new around here, go ahead and subscribe. Click that little bell so you get notifications whenever we go live or whenever I drop a new video in general for y'all. All right. Got a lot to talk about today. First things first, I'm going to have a Patreon update coming tonight for Patreons as well as channel members. It'll be coming for you guys too as well. I am going to discuss Jaire Alexander. If you remember, a couple weeks ago, I had a report that there had been contact, not necessarily trade discussions, but there had been contact previously between the Miami Dolphins and the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to go into detail for that, what went down when the contact was made, when the contact was made, etc., etc. So make sure you check that out. Barry Jackson said, and we'll go over it today. He discussed it, and when we go over it, I'll tell you a little bit more about what to expect with the Jaire Alexander Patreon update coming tonight. Also, a few days ago, I let you guys know, I went on a little bit of a frustrated rant with about Catapult, XOS Digital Sports, and how they continuously clip me for using Collegiate All 22, and I shouted out Brett Coleman for, calling them out and basically taking them to court. They must be watching. I am 110% convinced I am being monitored. You know why? Because I went on that rant and I said what I had to say to you guys. Since then, the day of that video, I had 2 videos demonetized from 2021. Jalen Waddle prospect videos where I used footage in 2021, right? I'm on episode, 1262 right now? We're talking about episode 200 and something, all right? 1,000 episodes ago, I got demonetized for 2 videos. Then I got demonetized for another old video yesterday, and then 2 more Jalen Waddle videos from 2021 today were demonetized again by Catapult and XOS Digital Sports. And again, they were from 2021. We're talking about 4-year-old videos here, and they're coming for me and they're demonetizing. Now, those aren't making money anymore, right? Those are pretty much stagnant now because they're 4 years old or whatever. But Catapult came for my behind after I called them out, and I'm still going to continue to call them out because I already know y'all are going to demonetize my videos. That's why I asked my subscribers who are watching to donate, because y'all can't take that donation money. Y'all can go ahead and touch that ad revenue, but guess what, Catapult? I am not compromising or sacrificing the quality of my big boards, of my prospect previews, of anything I do with collegiate film. You can demonetize me all you want. I am not sacrificing quality because I do it for the Dolphins fan base. I do it for these people that watch me. I don't do it for you. All right? So I got to get that off my back right there. I was like I've been blown away. I've been sitting here watching episodes from over 1,000 episodes ago getting demonetized. And don't tell me they ain't watching. Like, and I'm getting to the point where I'm going to fight back now. And we're going to really have a problem on our hands because I will take you all asses international. And I got the pockets to do it, baby. So, seriously, this is where I'm getting to. I'm on the verge of hitting up Brett Coleman, letting him know exactly what happened, getting his advice, and moving forward. Because, like El Pad just said, this is BS, and it's falling under free use laws. Right? And I'm clipping up and editing. So, technically, the footage is altered. Again, falling under free use laws. So, I meant to talk about this yesterday. I really did, because I got the demonetization right after Sunday's video. Then I got demonetized again after the video yesterday. Then I got demonetized again twice today. So I said, you know what? That reminded me. Let me bring this up. So just to let y'all know how real it is out here, okay? These people are pathetic, all right? Multi-million-dollar companies coming after YouTubers, all right? And you wonder why I push back on the media and why I stand the way I stand. Because you know what? A bunch of slime balls out there. Real talk. So a shout out to each and every one of you coming through. Now, let's get into football. TJ Watt. We're talking about some holdouts today. TJ Watt. Man. TJ Watt is not at training camp. There was a bunch of people who did not show up today to camp. And for the Miami Dolphins, Jonnu Smith did not show up to training camp today. Zach Sieler did show up to training camp. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey, he's been excused. All right. And another thing, just speaking about Jonnu. If you guys didn't see today, I don't know. But the Vikings, they agreed to a contract extension for their tight end, Josh Oliver. It was a 3-year, $23.25 million deal with a max value of $27.5 million, including $19.9 million in total guarantees. That is crazy. That is a lot of money. They are not joking around over in Minnesota, and you know, somewhere right now, Jonnu Smith has got steam coming out of his ears. I mean, they're already paying TJ Hawkinson in Minnesota. And they went out and they just gave a nice little stack of money to Josh Oliver. And here's the reality, too, when you got to break this down. Like, let's be real here. When it comes to Josh, we're not, like, Josh Oliver last year put up 258 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he just got paid that much money. 3 years, $23.25 million with a max value of $27.5 and $19.9 million guaranteed. So a little over $6 million a year over, if you want to split it between the 3 years, a little over $6 million a year guaranteed. Right? You know? That's a lot of money, man. Right? It's a little over $6.5 million guaranteed a year. And he is nowhere near the player, the playmaker, or the athlete Jonnu Smith is. Jonnu Smith, people don't want to talk about this, but I'll tell you. Jonnu Smith has the 4th most receiving yards over the last 2 years of all tight ends. On top of that, Jonnu Smith has the 32nd highest annual average salary amongst tight ends. So now he's looking at a guy like Josh Oliver getting paid, and what do you think's going through his mind? All right, yesterday we have Jaire Alexander hit the market, and that impacts Jalen Ramsey's trade value and trade market. Now we got Josh Oliver coming out here getting this stupid kind of money. I mean, let's be real. He's getting more money than Mike Gesicki. And Mike Gesicki had a better year with the Bengals than this guy did with the Vikings. Now, he's a good blocker, don't get me wrong here. But you know where I'm going with this. Craziness. Absolute craziness. And now, again, here we are. Second day in a row. Another move a team makes impacts something we're trying to get handled. This is what happens when you draw this stuff out. Jalen Ramsey, you knew about this in February. Like, what are we saying here? Shout out to Michelle Migliardi. She donated 5 Phinside The NFL memberships. I appreciate you, Michelle, for expanding the Phinside fam. 1017 man donates 20, said, never mind them money-hungry corporations. Keep doing your thing, bro. Hey, I'm going to keep doing my thing, you know? A lot of people didn't want to talk about it when I was taking on, you know, those 4 members of the media, specifically one of them. You know, they have multi-million-dollar conglomerates backing them up. I built what I built from my credibility to this platform with nothing behind me. No one. And how many thousands of miles away am I? All right? Same goes for Doug. He built what he built thousands of miles away with no multi-million-dollar conglomerate behind him. You know? But they forget that part. They'll leave out the part that these journalists start at third base. Well, we got to start in the batter's box, right? So, you know, I mean, hey, it is what it is. And now you got a place like Catapult. And I've told y'all, I talked to Catapult's president a couple of years ago. I told them, hey, I'm promoting these kids. They didn't want to hear nothing. So, Michelle Migliardi says, we'll always support your reason. Your show is the best. Appreciate you, Michelle. Thank you. And your support's the best. I appreciate y'all for holding me down the way you do. George says, what up, Reason? Seen you killing them on X. Speaking facts, brother. I went in yesterday. I murked them on X. And I didn't know. I made a tweet about Sam Bennett, that shift he had, where he basically laid 2.5 checks and then scored on a 2-0 breakaway, and he just potted that. It was an unbelievable sequence. It was the best sequence of hockey in a Stanley Cup final that's going to get someone paid since probably Brooks Orpik in 2009. When he laid out about, I want to say he laid out 4 different Red Wings on the same shift with about 5 different hits. Yeah, one of them got laid out twice. It was fantastic stuff. So, but yeah, I didn't know it'd blow up the way it did, but hell yeah, it blew up. So I appreciate y'all. And the facts he's probably speaking about is the Tua stuff, because I just wasn't having it yesterday. You know, we've been telling, you know, you guys in the chat, me up here, so many other content creators for years, have been telling everyone it all starts with the offensive line. But the most remedial, you know, when you have a remedial understanding of football, the easiest thing to do is to blame the player you see the most, i.e. the quarterback. And that's what a lot of people do. And, you know, Warren Sharp did a lot of good work, put out a lot of good stuff yesterday. And really, you know, he laid it out. So he stirred the pot, that's for sure. So shout out to Warren Sharp for going ahead and stirring that pot, man. All right. So, all right. You know what? Let's get into things here. So, let's start off with Jaire Alexander, and then we'll get into Mike. We're going to go chronologically. Start off with Jaire Alexander, and then we'll get into everything from there. So, Barry Jackson had this update today. He said, despite a glaring need at cornerback, the Dolphins were not among the half dozen teams that reached out to former Pro Bowl cornerback Jaire Alexander after he was released by the Green Bay Packers on Monday. So you've already got the phones blowing up. You know, you've already got the phones blowing up, which I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the Patreon and channel member update I have coming tonight. You know, I do know there is, well, you'll see what I'm talking about later tonight, because what he goes on and says here was, Miami, which intends to trade for Ramsey, also did not pursue Alexander when the Packers tried to trade him in recent months. Dolphins did not propose a Ramsey for Alexander trade. Now, if you've been following me on Patreon, you know I had heard that they had checked in with the Packers. Right? I never said that they offered anything or they even got into deep trade talks. So I'm going to go into deeper that. I know when they checked in, right? I know what basically basically led to no discussions of trade talks and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to talk about that tonight, as well as Tua, and I'm going to talk about Chop Robinson in my Patreon and channel member updates, so be on the lookout for that. So there you go. We have not discussed a Ramsey for Alexander trade, a source told him, and we didn't contact him yesterday. So now, Alexander has 15 interceptions in 7 seasons, appeared in just 7 regular season games each of the past 2 seasons, and did not play after November 12th last year, despite practicing on a semi-regular basis. He had knee surgery on what he said was a torn PCL. All right? So that is the latest there is on Jaire Alexander from Barry Jackson. I'm going to have an update for you guys on Patreon. I had it ready last night, and I actually just didn't get around to posting it. So I'll post it tonight for you guys on the Patreon, and for channel members, be out on the lookout for that to drop. And this is where it is, man. You know, I'm going to go into further detail on who I think and where I think they're going to go. I think there's going to be other suitors here. And when there's other suitors and at least half a dozen, what does that tell you? Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. The price is just going to be driven up. And I will say this, all right? I will say this. I will say that I'm not even lying to you. I'm not even lying to you right now. I just got an update. All right, I just got an email. Episode 459. XOS Digital Sports has demonetized it due to footage I used from Alabama and Ole Miss from their October 10th, 2020 game. Video can't be monetized. Literally. Right there. Right there in front of you. Literally. Right as I'm... So don't tell me they ain't... They're probably watching right now. And if you are... Okay, sorry, I had something in my eye. All right, so... Anyways, with Jaire. You know... The issue we're running into here is the extensive injury history, and there's going to be other suitors. The price is going to go up. Here, have we not learned yet this offseason? They have got certain price points that they're just not going to go above. And I believe that's where we're at with this veteran quarterback market. That's why the Rasul Douglas interest has remained stagnant, because they're just not willing to come up. And I wouldn't be shocked if they're waiting on Asante Samuel Jr., thinking they can get him super cheap on a 1-year prove-it deal because of the concerns with the neck. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if that's the play. So, you know, yeah, listen, I'll tell you this, and I'll go into it later tonight for the Patreons and chat. I wouldn't hold my breath right now on Jaire Alexander. Anything could change. It's a fluid situation, sure, but I just wouldn't be sitting here holding my breath for that. I'm going to be completely honest with you. So, you know, I know for a fact they really like a lot of the young guys they have in that room. And I keep telling y'all, be prepared for a lot of outside work for Kader Kohou. It's happening. They really liked what they saw in the last half of the season last year, right? The defense was starting to click. The light bulb was turning on for Kader. And that's basically where we're at. So, you know, that's why they're more interested. I mean, look at how interested they are in a Rasul Douglas. Yet, they're only interested in a big name right now if they can get him on the super cheap. So, man, that's going to be a battle. I mean, they want to see more from Cam Smith. They like what they saw from Storm Duck, too. And then they probably want to bring in a veteran just to battle with them. So, yeah, I'll have an update for all of you guys tonight. All right, have some stuff on Tua and Chop in that update, as well as we'll talk more about the Jaire Alexander situation and what I've heard. All right, now let's get into Mike McDaniel and his presser today. All right, so we got, I've clipped up some of the highlights from his press conference today. I'm going to play it here, and then we're going to discuss what he went over, because he's going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff here. He's going to talk about Jonnu, Sieler. He's going to get saucy about Ramsey. He's going to talk about Tua's health and a lot more. So here it is all together. Let's roll it.
Sieler and Jonnu participated.
Okay, so all right, so Zach Sieler, he's been in the building every single day during the off-season program. You will see him on the field doing some stuff. The length, well, you'll just have to hold your breath and see. And you will not see Jonnu on the field today or this week.
There you go.
It's taking this long to find a resolution with the team.
Regarding Ramsey.
Personally, and I would lump you into this with me, I don't give a shit about what I feel. I don't even really go down that road of how do I feel about it. My job is to react and control my controllables and make sure that people are moving in one direction appropriately. And so the business is business. The opportunity that business does provide in the off season is a
why has everything got to be an opportunity
about handling noise. What do I define noise as? Noise is things that don't have to do with what actually you're there to do and you should be focused on doing because you'll be held accountable to do. So business in the off seasons allows you to speak to your team about how the focus of noise is a constant battle that if you're successful, you have to win. And it's about not really caring about all things other than what we're here to do today, which is mandatory minicamp practice 1.
Jaire Alexander is a free agent who's available.
Couldn't even pronounce his name.
Will the Dolphins consider adding him?
Well, I think our starting point is we're considering everything. That's our jobs too. Again, those are things that my major focus is on the team. Conversations with Chris are fluid, but again, there's a lot of nameplates that you guys are familiar with from last year that are coming to work today to make sure that you're underselling all those nameplates at all positions. So I'm focused on those guys, really. And anything could happen. I'll adjust to whatever. Nothing's really going to rattle me. So bring them.
With Tua, are there any teaching reinforcements being taken at this stage in the offseason to help him avoid unnecessary hits come the regular season?
I mean, would you like for there to be?
Yes.
I think everybody in concert could say yes. To answer your question, I, like everyone else, really want him to be healthy, and you can, you plan so that you are hitting on all cylinders if he's not playing, but the end all be all, you have a franchise quarterback. You want him to play, not hang out with me on the sidelines. So,
yep.
The experience last year, I think if you think of 2024 for Tua, realizing in the most egregiously slow, painful way of just the effects of not having him on the field, the residuals. I think he started the offseason as it being the primary importance. And come on, every effing rep this dude has.
Look at he's getting saucy.
That is an opportunity to reinforce something paramount. I'm probably going to over reinforce paramount. So yes.
So there you go. Now I found it interesting. A few things here. All right. Sieler, he's been working in the offseason program. He's there. He's being the leader he is. Love it. Jonnu's not going to be there all week, not just today. So that's, oof. You know, I would love to talk to Chris Greer. I mean, is that because y'all are looking for a partner to make a deal with? Or is that because you guys are trying to make a deal with Jonnu himself? Right? Like, you know, that's very interesting to me. Now, I go back to it. When was the breaking point for McDaniel with Ramsey? Like, this man's swearing now. I mean, we've never seen him get this frustrated with anything. And look at the things Tyreek has done. Tyreek's been more of a head case than Ramsey has been for them. But, I mean, you could tell he is just over that situation. And, I mean, look at, he said he doesn't give a SHIT about what he feels, about what McDaniel said, I don't give an SHIT about what I feel. This is the guy who's clearly been concerned about what everyone thinks about him, about what players think about him, and he's taking a huge different approach here. That's crazy. He's just over the Ramsey situation. He even said, there was Jalen Ramsey's absence was excused today, right? Now with Jaire Alexander, he said, we're going to consider everything. Anything could happen. I'm focused on the guys we got here in the house right now, which is what he always says regarding this stuff. So he said, nothing's going to rattle him. So bring him. Not very much to it, but he said, hey, we consider all options. Now, he was also asked about Cam Smith today a little bit. And he kind of, again, in a dissertation form that he does, basically, talked about the things he does well, but the things he needs to do better and how it's continuing to be a work in progress. All right. Now, what's interesting with Tua is you could kind of hear, he basically told you if Tua ain't out there, this offense isn't going. Right? We need him to be healthy. You could tell he probably has a little bit of a hint of frustration of Tua not being healthy, because Tua not being healthy and missing time has made him look, it kind of exposed him in terms of not being able to have another quarterback in-house or developing a quarterback in-house that could run the offense at even a somewhat efficient level or competent level. Now, another interesting thing I didn't play the clip of, but I thought was real interesting. He was asked about Zach Wilson, right? And he basically told him, he basically said, and he swore again in that answer, said he looks like the guy who's into some, but he basically told you in that he's challenging him to be a better anticipator, right? He basically said, guys with that kind of arm talent, they're late on reads, right? They tend to be late a little bit more, right? They tend to throw it late. And he's trying to develop that anticipation with them. And my God, how many years are we in now? Right? This man was drafted in 2021. He didn't have that anticipation at BYU. He hasn't had that anticipation through his whole career. Sure, the light could go on, but he's never going to be a high-level anticipator. If he's basically telling you, and we'll get in, Zach Wilson didn't have a good day today, by the way. He almost threw 3 picks, and 2 of them, one was a pick 6 and another one was almost a pick 6. So he didn't have a good day, right? And what does that tell you? He's probably late on the reads. He's not throwing with anticipation. So he kind of called out Zach Wilson and basically said, I'm challenging him to he basically said in so many words, I'm challenging him to throw with anticipation because guys with that arm talent, he's late on reads all the time. That's basically what he said. I told y'all this ain't going to be great. I know where this is going. I know where this is going, bro. I'm sorry. I don't see it, man. Sean Payton told you everything you needed to know. And let me tell you this much. Teddy Bridgewater was fantastic for Sean Payton when he took over for Drew Brees. We all remember that, right? He was fantastic. Fantastic. Yet when he comes here and has to take over for Tua Tagovailoa, mediocre at best. You know? Tells you a couple things. One of them being much more complicated offense in Miami than it was in New Orleans. So, we'll see how it works out. But yeah, that were the takeaways from the presser. Now, let's get into stuff. I got a highlight I want to show you guys. We got notes here and observations. And then we're going to go over what Tua said, some of the things Tua said today. So let's go over to the best in the business. One of my favorite people on X. I'm so glad he follows me and shows me a bunch of love. Shout out to Travis Wingfield, one of the best in the business. And this is what he said. Day one of Dolphins minicamp is in the books. Here's some notes. The Tua to Waddle connection continues to provide fireworks. They're playing on the same clock. Ball is on him right out of breaks, and Waddle is running like people are chasing him. My favorite play was a 40-yard touchdown. Tua worked the front side with a little shoulder roll pump, pulling an underneath defender out of the window. Then he layered it to Waddle, who caught it in stride and showed the 4.2 speed. Last play of the day is a 55-yard touchdown from Tua to Malik. Artie Burns was in Malik's hip pocket, but Tua could have not handed it off any better. Love it. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine showed his red zone chops, catching 3 touchdowns throughout the day. Tua and Zach Wilson found him with high throws that he was able to pull down from above the rim. Love hearing that. The red zone game produced some touchdowns in the 6 to 8 yard range with good cutbacks from Jalen Wright, Alexander Madison, and Ollie Gordon. Thought it was a great day from the backs as they all caught touchdowns in this period too. Achane made a leaping touchdown catch over Willie Gay in coverage and got a step on Dodson and team, but Tua just overshot him. Could have been a 50-yard touchdown. Achane's route running looks to have taken yet another step. Oh boy. Oh boy. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I love it. I love it. Looks like it's taken another step. Achane getting even better at running the football. My Lord, that's scary. That is scary. That's scary for the NFL. All right. Now, he said he thought it was a great day for Kader Kohou and Storm Duck. They are so aggressive and physical in the way they cover, challenging everything. BJ Adams' ability to reroute them. Pin stands out every time I watch him. He shut down one deep shot attempt to Theo Weiss. That, paired with the safeties with good eyes, led to a bunch of picks. Let's go through them. Ethan Bonner nearly had a pick 6 in red zone, drove on an outbreaker from Zach Wilson, but dropped it. So a throw outside the numbers with that kind of arm talent, what does that tell you? He was probably late on the read. Later in team, Wilson had Tajay Washington, but overshot it. It was picked and ran back by Dante Trader Jr. The second pick by Wilson came from Isaiah Johnson, who won the 50-50 ball attempt. Shout out to... Look at Isaiah Johnson making plays, in OTAs now and the first day of minicamp. Love it. Elijah Campbell had a pick 6 and 7 versus 7 on Quinn Ewers, but the ball was off the hands of his intended wide receiver, which was A.J. Henning. So there you go. Pick 6 from Quinn Ewers in 7-on-7, but it went off his hands. So he hit the target in the hands. He hit A.J. Henning in the hands, and it popped up, and it was intercepted. So not a throw on the quarterback, whereas the Zach Wilson throws and picks were on Zach Wilson. Jordan Colbert read a throw over the middle, but couldn't complete the catch from Tua. So he almost had Tua picked off, did Jordan Colbert, the returning UDFA safety from last season. And then Chop Robinson, KJ Britt, and Grayson Murphy had sacks. Murphy got around Patrick Paul, but on the next rep, Paul stopped Murphy in his tracks. That was a fun battle to watch. So I love hearing that. Not only did the pass rush get home a little bit with Grayson Murphy and Chop Robinson and KJ Britt, but look at that. Patrick Paul stepping up and stopping a guy like a pressure magnet like Grayson Murphy in his tracks. Love to hear that. But man, that connection, listen, it's so key that Jalen Waddle gets back to the trajectory we saw after 2022 when it was a 1A, 1B, right, between him and Tyreek, when he had over 1,300 yards and everyone was excited for what he was going to do, right, the next year in 2023, right? It's so imperative he gets back on that track. And the reason why is because Tyreek's not the long-term answer here. And we want to see another big year from Waddle. Waddle been putting in the work this offseason, and it's showing off a little bit. So I love it, man. Shout out to Penn. She gifted 5 Phinside The NFL memberships. Jose M, Mario Gonzalez, Eddie, Joe 305, and Eric all benefit from that. Shout out to Penn. So the Jalen Waddle and the Tyreek thing, and I'm going to tell you something, right? I've already reported, right, that there was tension when the season ended between Waddle and Tyreek, as well as Tua and Tyreek. I'm just throwing this out there. This is just a theory. I'm not even saying, this is just my theory, sitting back watching this all. I wonder if Tua and Waddle got together and said, yo, let's make this happen. It's time for us to ball out together and show we don't need this guy. We got you and me. We don't need this guy. I'm wondering if they've had that conversation, because Tua and Tyreek are like this, right? They're super tight, right? Like, they were friends at Alabama, but they've gotten way closer as they've been professionals. I'm wondering if they got together and they said, yo, let's just ball out and let's show everyone, yo, man, you just got paid. Let's show everyone you're number one. I'll make sure you're looked at as a number one, because Tua can do it. Tua can do it. I mean, we've seen him elevate guys, that are flipping burgers right now, like Lynn Bowden Jr., right? Malcolm Perry, et cetera, right? Gesicki had his best year with Tua, and it took how many years after until he left and met up with Burrow to have even a comparable year. So I'm wondering if him and Waddle had a little bit of a, let's ball, man. Let's show it. Because they were balling in OTAs, and they're balling right now. So I love it. Let's go. Let's go. Remember, after 2022, all of us were like, yo, at worst, Waddle is a 1B. He's the best wide receiver 2 in the NFL. Right? Now, after 2023, there's some doubt cast on that. So go take back that crown. And I said during OTAs, when I posted a clip from Waddle, that long touchdown pass from Tua to Waddle, I said, man, go take that wide receiver 1 spot by force. And I mean it. Shout out to Jalen Waddle, baby. That's a dog right there. All right. Marcel Louis-Jacques. This is what he had to say about today. He said, Dolphins kicked off mandatory minicamp today. As previously reported, no Ramsey, no Smith. Sieler was here and participated in practice. Possibly the biggest surprise was Tyreek Hill catching passes during position drills. First time since wrist surgery earlier this offseason. No team drills for Hill, but it's a positive development. Orange jersey for tight end Tanner Connor. Looks like he's taking advantage of his opportunities with Jonnu Smith absent. Dontre Trader, pick 6 off Zach Wilson. Elijah Campbell, pick 6 off Quinn Ewers. Tip pass off a wide receiver's hands in 7-on-7. Dolphins backup quarterbacks haven't necessarily been impressive dating back to OTAs, but it's still early in the process. And listen, we can give Quinn Ewers a little bit of headway. Hey, you're a 7th round pick. This is your first experience with, NFL caliber players here and defensive players you're going against. What's the excuse for Zach Wilson? We guaranteed him all that money, and there's escalators built in. I told each and every one of you, I said, it's a red flag that Sean Payton let him walk. He's a better athlete from arm strength to what he can do out of slots. He's got a more talented arm than what Jarrett Stidham has. And yet, what did they do? 2nd year in a row, they made Jarrett Stidham the highest paid backup quarterback in the NFL. And I told all y'all, that speaks volumes without them talking. They're telling you if Bo goes down in Denver, We trust Jared Smith to run our offense more efficiently. The guy that's the lesser of the athlete and has the lesser arm. We trust him more than we trust the more uber talented kid. I kept saying this. And, listen, I'm not overreacting. Again, they're in shorts. It's the underwear Olympics. All right? I'm not even comparing him to Mahomes, but Mahomes, right before he took over the reins, what did he have that 1 week where he had 5 or 6 interceptions? What was it, at minicamp or at training camp or whatever it was? So I'm not sitting here, saying, oh my God, trade the guy. But I'm just sitting here saying, thus far, I'm not surprised that Zach Wilson hasn't looked that impressive. That's all I'm saying. So, hey, could he have a training camp that's out of this world? And could his preseason game performances be out of the world? Sure. That's why I'm not jumping out of the window. That's why I haven't even opened the window, let alone walked up to it yet, okay? On Zach Wilson. But all I'm going to sit here and say is, just don't say reason was right. Remember what Sean Payton basically, that's all I'm pointing out is Sean Payton basically told you this without telling you this. That's all I'm saying. So don't think about me and my desire to be right or if I'm right, because I don't care about that. I want to be wrong in this situation. I want to be wrong. Just think about Sean Payton and why Sean Payton let that talent leave at the position for a guy like Jarrett Stidham. That's all I'm saying. All right? Think about Sean Payton. That's all. All right. Now, more news, notes, and observations. All right? So, 2 interceptions returned for touchdowns and a deep touchdown throw from Tua Tagovailoa, the signature plays Tuesday. Elijah Campbell picked off Quinn Ewers and returned it for a touchdown after the ball bounced off the hands of undrafted Northwestern rookie A.J. Henning. Rookie 5th-round safety Dante Trader had a pick 6 on a pass thrown by Zach Wilson, and there wasn't a receiver close on the play. Remember, Travis told us he overshot the throw, right? Wilson had another pass picked off by Isaiah Johnson on a 50-50 ball and nearly threw a 3rd interception. The other highlight, Tagovailoa touchdown throw to Malik Washington, who beat 5th-round rookie cornerback Jason Marshall Jr. Jalen Waddle beat linebacker Jordan Brooks for a 30-yard catch and run before being touched at the 5-yard line by safety Ifeatu Melifonwu. Also in 11-11 work, Tagovailoa threw a red zone touchdown to new Dolphins receiver Nick Westbrook-Ikine, who caught the pass while defended by Ethan Bonner. Tagovailoa also made a smart check down to Devon Achane for a first down. Quentin Bell beat Keon Smith, stopping a run at the line of scrimmage in 11-11. Willie Gay Jr. batted down a Zach Wilson pass that was supposed to be a screen. So, great read by Willie Gay Jr. on a screen. Love to hear that. I'm telling you, Willie Gay Jr. is going to be the 3rd linebacker. Watch. Running back Alexander Madison had an impressive run. It could have been an 11-yard touchdown if the play hadn't been stopped. Linebacker KJ Britt sacked Wilson, who threw the ball away to Eric Izukama, who dropped it. Jalen Wright had a touchdown run, thanks in part to a good block from Western Michigan undrafted rookie tackle Ted Cushy. So there you go. They're telling you Cushy was at tackle, basically, without telling you. Remember, they're not allowed to tell you where the guys are lining up. Bradley Chubb was in Tagovailoa's face so quickly that he had to throw the ball prematurely to Malik Washington, who couldn't haul it in. Guard Liam Eichenberg put rookie 5th-round pick Jordan Phillips on the ground with an impressive block. Oh, no! Oh, no, Jordan, no! Defensive lineman Benito Jones stopped Achane in the backfield to the left side. Chop Robinson has a sack on Ewers, who threw the ball away. Isaiah Johnson picked it off. Ewers' 2nd interception Tuesday. Grayson Murphy and Britt also had sacks. Meanwhile, in 7-on-7 work, receiver Westbrook-Ikine got a red zone touchdown from Tagovailoa, beating cornerback Kendall Sherfield. Tight end Julian Hill beat Melifonwu on a 5-yard touchdown throw from Tagovailoa. Also in 7-7, Wilson rifled a touchdown throw to Achane with Gay Jr. in coverage. Bonner dropped an interception on a Wilson pass tender for Tajay Washington. It could have been a pick 6 if Bonner held onto it. Tanner Connor wore the orange jersey bestowed on the standout of the previous practice. Receiver Tyreek Hill, working his way back from 2 wrist procedures, was catching passes, but not during team drills. He's expected to be back for training camp. Zach Sieler participated in individual drills, but not team drills. He's been around the facility for the entire offseason program, but his involvement in on-field work has been limited. Players who want new contracts often sit out offseason practices, but nobody has confirmed that's the case with Sieler. The 2 players not in attendance on Tuesday, tight end Jonnu Smith and cornerback Jalen Ramsey. Guard James Daniels, recovering from a torn Achilles sustained in week 4 last season when he played for Pittsburgh, participated in some individual drills, then worked with a trainer on the sideline while the team conducted 11-11 drills. The expectation is he'll be ready for the regular season, as representation has said. Linebacker Jalen Phillips participated in 7-on-7 red zone drills. He was sporadic, participating in recent OTAs as he works his way back from a torn ACL sustained in week 4 against Tennessee. So, number 1, say it ain't so, Jordan. Jordan Phillips put on his behind by Liam Eichenberg. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my God. No, say it ain't so, Jordan. Now, something I do want to talk about, probably the biggest takeaway. James Daniels is already participating in some individual drills and working out on the sideline. I'm hoping he's pushing to be back for training camp. That's my hope, is that this guy finds a way to come back for training camp. I would love to see him active at training camp. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but James Daniels already working out. And let's talk about it. Tanner Connor. Is this a season he's actually going to turn it into something? You know, I know they're a little high on him. You know, I mean, he's a better athlete than Julian Hill. You know, is he going to finally turn it into something? Let's see. Hopefully Jalen Conyers can step up in camp as well. Whether it be minicamp, training camp, both, hopefully. Whatever the case. Haven't heard much about Hayden Rucci. Haven't heard much about Julian Hill either. So, all right. Now, here are some highlights from Tuesday's practice. Shout out to the homie David Furones with the Sun Sentinel. Coach Mike McDaniel seemed a bit irritable during his pre-practice media session. Used a couple of profanities and clearly wasn't in his usual wisecracking mood. Tagovailoa looked good in the first round of 7-on-7 drills, hitting wide receiver Nick Westbrook-Ikine on a 8-yard touchdown pass against cornerback Kendall Sheffield, and another tight end Julian Hill against safety Malafanu. So there you go, Julian Hill sighting. Tagovailoa has appeared confident in control during OTAs and minicamp, not having number 1 wide receiver. It's been a good offseason for Tagovailoa. Backup quarterback Zach Wilson threw an 8-yard back shoulder touchdown pass to Demonetization against Willie Gay. Wilson is showing good awareness in this offense, and his passes for the most part have been accurate and delivered on time. Wilson appears to be the solid number 2 choice of quarterback ahead of rookie draftee Quinn Ewers. So this is a different tune being sung up here by David than we heard recently, right? Gay came back to bat down a Wilson pass as Wilson tried to escape pressure. The inside linebackers, one of the deepest positions on the team, continued to impress during the offseason. Tyrell Dodson also had a pass breakup on Tuesday. Sieler didn't participate in 11-11 drills, but he did some individual drills. He appeared active and engaged in practice. Ewers had a pick 6, but it wasn't his fault. Wide receiver A.J. Henning had a pass glance off his hands, and Elijah Campbell caught it for an interception return of maybe 60 yards. Overall, the Dolphins' top 3 quarterbacks, Tagovailoa, Wilson, and Ewers, have been solid in the offseason. So you've got other people saying Wilson and Ewers haven't looked particularly good, and David Furones is calling them solid. Wide receiver Jalen Waddle had a nice reception from Tagovailoa on an underneath route for maybe 20 yards. Waddle, as expected, has been torching the cornerbacks throughout the offseason. Edge rusher Jalen Phillips, who is recovering from a season-ending knee injury, did individual drills on Tuesday. Phillips has participated in 11-11 drills and OTAs, but he's looked explosive in drills and hasn't limped at all. Hill, wearing gloves on his hands, caught passes from assistant coach in the middle of the field during offensive drills. Hill, who had an offseason wrist surgery, is expected to be healthy at some point in camp. Hill was wearing a brace or wrap on his surgically repaired right wrist. There you go. Kenneth Grant has moved around on the line. He played rookie guard Jonah Savaiinaea to a standoff on a touchdown pass from Tagovailoa to Westbrook-Ikine in a red zone play. Overall, Grant has appeared agile and active. Savaiinaea continues to move well. Players aren't in pads, so we don't know about his physicality, but his agility is top-notch. Savaiinaea shows good feet. He displayed those feet on the first play of 11-11, which is what he's displayed throughout OTAs. Veteran guard James Daniels, the biggest free agent signing of the offseason, participated in some individual drills. In practice, Daniels is recovering from an Achilles injury that limited him to 4 games last season. He didn't participate in the OTAs that the media was allowed to watch. Daniels worked on the side with a trainer for the last 30 minutes or so of practice. Daniels was the only player wearing a Guardian cap, by the way. All right. So, tight end Tanner Connor wore the orange jersey. Tajay Washington, one of last year's 7th-round picks, wore the red jersey Tuesday just as he did in OTAs, as his injury has not been disclosed yet. Quentin Bell had a nice stop for no gain by beating Keon Smith, who was playing guard. Bell was mostly a special teams player last season, but has a chance to earn a roster spot. Edge rushers had a so-so day. Grayson Murphy, who had 3 sacks in the last OTA session, had a sack on Tagovailoa as he went unblocked in an apparent blown assignment. Murphy, undrafted out of UCLA in 2024, is beginning to emerge. Cornerback Ethan Bonner had a PBU on Wilson pass to wide receiver Tajay Washington in a 7-on-7. Bonner, who has flashed this offseason but lacked consistency, probably should have had an interception because the pass hit him in the chest. Cornerbacks aside from Kidderku, who have been struggling during the offseason against a relatively nondescript group of wide receivers aside from Waddle. Storm Duck and Kendall Sheffield have had their moments, but neither at this point appears to be ready to be a full-time starter. Isaiah Johnson had a nice interception against Henning on a pass from Wilson. It was one of the few good plays by a cornerback in the offseason. Johnson used his size very well to position himself for the interception. Liam Eichenberg had a pancake block on Jordan Phillips in 11-11s. Eichenberg has been the top backup offensive lineman this entire offseason so far. So more praise for Eichenberg, but shout out to David Furones, the only one who gave us an update on the rookies, saying Kenneth Grant looks really well. He's very active. They're moving him across the front. Again, I told people not to pigeonhole him as a nose tackle. And what is David telling you? He's seeing them move all around. He's not being pigeonholed as a nose tackle, just like I said. All right? Again, the people who claim to watch film but want to call this guy a nose tackle. Okay. Savaiinaea, and apparently he continues to look really good as he moves, right? The feet are fluid. The feet are nice. I remember when I was pushing Jonah Savaiinaea as the guy I wanted back in December, January. And in January or February, someone put out a article. It was after the Senior Bowl about how he wouldn't be a good fit because his movement skills. Come on, again, watch the film. You can see it right there. Jonah Savaiinaea is a fit. I've wanted this guy for months and months and months. He's our option. I love it. And I love that David Furones kept us updated and knows what we want in terms of we want to hear about how the rookies are doing, especially the top 2 picks, and he's letting us know, right? The agility he called top-notch for Savaiinaea, right? And, obviously gushing about Grant's agility and how active he's been. So, and they even had a stalemate, Jonah Savaiinaea and Kenneth Grant today on a rep. So, love it. Love it, love it, love it, what we're hearing from the rookies out of Mandatory Minicamp so far. All right. I'm going to show you something. In case you were wondering what the Malik Washington touchdown throw from Tua looked like today at practice, Jason Marshall was the one who appeared to have been burnt on it. Check this out. Right? Woo! 33 is Jason Marshall. Man, I am excited to see what Malik Washington does in year 2. Super excited to see this guy continue to grow. I think we're going to see a leap as a receiver and as a special teams returner. Love it. Fantastic. I can't wait, man. Listen, Nick Westbrook-Akine's blocking prowess and his height probably given the advantage at number 3, but don't think for a second Malik is just going to roll over and settle in to wide receiver 4. He's going to fight for that. He's going to fight for that spot, and I love it. All right, Tua. He said some interesting things today with his mini camp day 1 media availability. Let's go over those. Here it is. I have taken a few highlights from what he said today, and let's go over them. So nice being asked about when he started feeling good with the hip.
Yeah, I would say started to feel a little better, more so like in February. Yeah.
What are some of the points of emphasis for exactly that? Protecting yourself better coming into next season. Are there any things that you can take in the offseason
So now he's asked about what are some points of emphasis for protecting himself better coming into the season.
Doing everything I can to stay available for the guys. Like I said before, in the past, nothing changes with that. It's knowing when is the time to give up on a play, and I would say the longevity for me to be on the field with my guys is more important than whatever that one play is. You have more quarters than there would be within just that one play that I'm trying to, show the guys that, I'm competitive and whatnot. And I know they know that, but it's just a nature. It's a nature thing. It just comes natural to me to compete in that sense, and that's just the thing I fight with every time.
I was gonna say too, like, is there a quantifiable way to know when to give up on a play? Like, okay, if nobody's open after X amount of seconds,
yeah.
Or is it just a feel thing, like case by case?
Well, I think that's why you have practice, and it starts in practice. I gotta sort of shift my mindset of this isn't just practice where guys can't hit me. You got to take it into a sense where, like, if this guy's here, get the ball out, and if I'm scrambling and this guy's getting close, not to just hold on to it, knowing they can hit me if it was real football, just throw it away or run and then just stop to signify to slide, if you will. But I think it's the transition and focus of bringing that game-like feel into practice.
Alan Kingold said the chemistry this time around and work ethic this year versus last year is much better. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think there is a culture shift, and I know it. I mean, I feel it just as much as everyone that's been here since I've gotten into the league. We always hear about, culture shift. You guys have a change of this. You guys are doing this. Always optimistic, but I really do feel in my heart that this is a change of scenery for our guys in the locker room, and then it also transitions to our coaches as well, because we get opportunities to lead, and it's not as much the coaches as it is the players, I would say, this year.
Now he's being asked about Waddle.
Yeah, we're continuing to grow our chemistry with one another. For the past year, for the past 2 years, it's really been me and Reek kind of getting on that same page. But if we can get Waddle, me and Waddle can get together and continue to make strides throughout these last few days of minicamp, I think it's gonna lead into some pretty good things preparing us for training camp. That felt great. I never had much of those with Malik, so that was really, really cool to see what Malik can do with the ball. And with him, he's also come a long way with the offense. Like, I thought he did a great job last year for us. I think he's doing a tremendous job for what we're asking him to do, playing multiple positions and knowing what to do, even in the blocking game or even in the run game with his blocking.
So, again, look what he said about Jalen Waddle. Like, he emphasized, I've had that built with Reek, but now it's basically time to start building that with Waddle. And it goes back to what I said earlier. I really think there is purpose and intent to that, and to why we're seeing Waddle and Tua pop off the way we are right now. I watch that. I think we're in for a big year for Jalen Waddle. I really do. Last year we saw Tua made it an emphasis to spread the ball around to kind of show, hey, we're not just one-dimensional with receiver. Now obviously Tyreek ended up getting hurt, Waddle was banged up, and Jonnu had to become the focus point. But with Achane becoming reportedly a better route runner, and with this chemistry with Waddle and Tua clearly being a point of emphasis, I think we're in for a big year. And I also like what he said about, listen, self-awareness is a big thing with Tua. We've heard him talk about protecting himself over and over, but now you're hearing him get into the weeds of it, saying, I can't treat it like practice and guys aren't going to hit me. It sounds like he's understanding the point that you don't got to keep proving yourself you don't got to keep proving to yourself and everyone around you, whether you're all in or not. We know you are. So stop risking your body and stop risking your health because we can't do much without you. Right? So that's just where we're at. And I like what he said about the culture shift, right? When he's talking about the change of scenery for the guys in the locker room, you know, and really they're talking about the guys that are going to be getting out of here, like specifically Jalen Ramsey and eventually Tyreek. So good stuff from Tua today. Guys, smash the like button. Subscribe if you are new. We're going to be live tomorrow for day 2 of Mandatory Minicamp. We'll have even more in-depth, over 500 of you in the chat. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Patreon and channel member update coming tonight regarding Jaire Alexander as well as Tua and Chop Robinson. If you want to become a member, hit that join button. If you want to become a Patreon, just look at the bottom of the screen and go to patreon.com/Phinside The NFL and join. I will see y'all in the next one. You already know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day. Have a fantastic rest of your day, everyone.